What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to episode 46 today of the Road to Glory career mode. In today's episode, we're about to watch Crewe Alexandra play their first ever Champions League game. But before we get into that, we have to play in the Premier League. Everton, the opponents for the first game of today's episode. That's how the league table looks going into it, and we're also going to check out the other Champions League groups, so we can see who's in what group, who's going to play who, and who we potentially might be looking at if Crewe get out of their particular group as well. It's not the most difficult group in the world that Crewe are being drawn in. It's not the easiest, but it's the Champions League, so at the end of the day, every team is here because they are the best from their respective leagues, and they obviously on their day can beat anybody. So that's how the groups actually look. As I'm scrolling through, you can check it out. City in quite a difficult group, Bayern in there, and a couple of teams that are considered to be maybe giant killers, I guess you could say. So yeah, it might be quite tough for those guys. Spurs in what I would say also in a tough, difficult one. In terms of Crewe though, they've got PSG, Celtic, and I struggle to remember who the other team was. I apologise, but it is quite an interesting group. So, to be honest, if we don't get out of the group, I'll be slightly disappointed in ourselves. And as we got into game one, it's going to be Everton. The first game, as I said, Premier League football. They've got an interesting side. Mario Balotelli leads their line up front. Not really had the greatest goal-scoring history, has he, in the Premier League when he's been here. You know, we only got one for Liverpool, and at City, he actually didn't do too badly at City. But, I mean, overall, in terms of his last few visits to the Premier League, let's call it, you know, Liverpool springs to mind, didn't do the best there, did he? So, yeah, as you can see going into it, we have a decent side ourselves. It's the 4-3-2-1 that we've been seeing from the last one. Jofa, Tarkowski, Konsa and Gaia lead the back line with a front three of El Ghazi, Donis, and against his former club, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm intrigued to see how he's going to play today against this Everton side that we poached him from for £21 million. They chose Balotelli over him. There he is on your screen, getting ready to go into this one here against Everton. Luckily, it's at home, though, so he won't have to deal with the Everton fans. He only has to deal with the home fans anyways. But the first few minutes of the game, I spent it trying to grow into it, and in general, didn't really have a good start. And honestly, when I gave away this penalty here, I was just like, what on earth is going on? Like, personally speaking, I know that was close, and I know it was maybe just in the area, but still, it's a harsh decision, because again, I don't feel like there's much of a challenge from Konsa. I skipped it because I was a little bit tilted. You can see Green trying to do as much as he can to put off Mario Balotelli, and luckily it worked, because a quite brilliant one-handed stop from our goalkeeper stopped us going 1-0 down in the opening 11 minutes from the spot from Mario Balotelli. So, good start from Everton, and of course, we managed to save the penalty they had, and they continued the pressure, but couldn't find that opening goal. But you've got to learn from your mistakes, and I didn't do that. I allowed them way too much time and space. Balotelli gets in, and a thunderous strike gives Everton the lead here. No more than 10 minutes after he missed from the spot, he's opened up the scoring. There wasn't too much Green could have done. I can't really complain at my goalkeeper for that one. There's absolutely nothing he could have done about that. And unfortunately, we went 1-0 down. And we didn't... I don't know what happened to me. I just could not find my feet in this game as Ross Barkley goes forward and they make it 2-0. Yeah, we played unbelievably well last season to win the league. I said that this year might be a bit more tough in the aspect we've got to play Champions League football as well. But I wasn't expecting this to happen 4 games in as I absolutely crumble as Andreas Pereira, I think that is, puts Everton 2-0 to the good. Beating Green at his near post, and there was nothing that I could do to stop this happening. So, going to have to come back from 2-0 down if we want something out of this game. And we did finally get our first chance just before half-time. Dominic Calvert-Lewin turning in the box and firing a low left-footed shot past the keeper to give us what was a lifeline heading into potential half-time here. But against his former club, it just had to be him, didn't it? Dominic Calvert-Lewin with the finish. Not only that, but he celebrated as well against the Everton side here. So, yeah, I didn't play very well in this first half, and we quite deservedly were 2-0 down. But we got that goal, and what could be a massive goal to try and turn this one around. Unfortunate there that Pickford just couldn't quite make the save. So, into half-time we went, coming out for the second half. I, again, was trying to find something to happen. Nearly gave away another penalty there, as Ross Barkley could have quite easily gone to ground and down, but the ball found its way through to Mario Balotelli for the second time in a game, and he made no mistake with his finish yet again, putting that 2-goal deficit back in front for Everton and putting us back down to 3-1 overall. So everything not going to plan for us, but at this point I was just throwing the kitchen sink and just saying, hey, if we lose 4-1 trying to get back into it, I don't mind, but we did actually make it 3-2 This time it was a turn with Anwar El Ghazi. Very similar finish to that of Dominic Calvert-Lewin moments ago, giving us another lifeline. But we were running out of time. We had to make something happen in the last few minutes. We had 9 minutes to do it. El Ghazi finding CREWE'S. CREWE'S into Calvert-Lewin. Back to Donis. Donis to Calvert-Lewin. Lovely piece of play. He gets inside the area, keeps his composure, and finesses it past Jordan Pickford to make it Crewe 3, Everton 3. We fought back from 2-0 down to make it 2-1. We then went 3-1 down, but at this point now, it is us with the momentum. A 3-3 thriller so far. That was so hard to get out. And as it stood, we were heading for at least a single point. If I could hold my nerve and not concede again, because that's what we did earlier on. We don't want to have that happen, but I felt confident we could get even more from the game, potentially a fourth. But sadly, we ran out of time. The game came to a close. It was still a fantastic game to watch anyway and play. 3-3 on the day. But it could have been so much more. Balotelli missing that penalty, you know, when Green saved it with a brilliant save. We had moments where I thought maybe if we just get that last pass, we might have been in. But ultimately, I think a one-pointer there was a fair result between the two sides. I'm not going to complain at it. It is what it is. We get the result that I was hoping for. So, yeah. Decent way to start it off. Not quite the greatest defending in the world, but we'll have to improve on that aspect of it later on. Now we go into CREW'S first ever Champions League appearance. Celtic are the opponents for the first group stage game. And this one's going to be tough. I really dislike playing teams like Celtic in the Champions League because they always seem to have a good performance against me. Like, in the past, when I played against them, I've either smashed them or it's been so close to the point where there's one goal in it. It's never like me comfortably winning 2-0, you know, 3-0. I either win like 6-1, 5-1, or it's a 2-1 or a 1-0. It's that close normally sometimes. So in this one, not really showing how I'm going to fare because Crewe, you know, this is probably, and without sounding harsh here, one of the worst sides I maybe have taken into the Champions League before, barring that of my Huddersfield team that I don't think I actually played a Champions League game in earlier on in this FIFA's career mode. This quite possibly could be one of the worst, you know, I guess, rated sides that I'm going to take into a Champions League. It's obviously going to get better from here, but in terms of what it is now, you know, there's a lot of areas that I could potentially improve on. So, although it's a good team and I'm quite happy with it, it still could be improved. As we got into the game, it took until the second half. I think it was quite a nervy start for myself as well, especially because it's the first game, until we really found anything. Jose Gaya down the left-hand side, testing the palms of the keeper. Then it was Celtic's turn. Markovic here, good turn, gets past his man, gets into the area. And in the end, curls one goalwards, which narrowly goes wide of that bottom corner. Not quite sure where Green was going with his dive there, because he wouldn't have made that, even if it had been on target. So, interesting dive, to say the least, from our goalkeeper. And then 5 minutes from time, oh my goodness, what a save that was from Green to stop us going 1-0 down. And from there, we broke. I have no idea what happened. Everybody switched off. Kinsella, lovely ball backwards. Martin finds its way through to Gomez. Gomez back to Martin. Martin through to Kinsella. Lovely work to get in behind. And Michael Kinsella, the bald beast, puts us 1-0 in front in the 90th minute of the game. He hasn't really featured that much this season. You know, he played quite a few games last year for us, but obviously now we've got Donis, we've got Agazi, we've got Calvert-Lewin. He's kind of dropped down the pecking order, but still, we can call upon him. We came off the bench here in order to put that one home with that left foot, and we took the lead with only a matter of minutes left in this game itself. So, very happy to have taken the lead, but I'm a bit disappointed that we left it so late, especially considering the fact that it wasn't done there, because as you know, kick-off, it's nice, isn't it? As Markovic finds its way through. 2 passes. Graham got in. And after 2 passes, Celtic scored to make it 1-1. I mean, what on earth can I do against that? I guess I could pick up my man harder, but I just didn't defend very well. And in the 90th minute, there were 2 goals, 1 apiece. And even though it looked like we were going to get a draw from the game earlier on, we were on the course to then get the 3 points after scoring. But no, we threw it all away. And we will only pick up a single point from our first group stage game in the Champions League. Whether or not that point could come back to haunt us, I don't know. But all I'm saying is, the fact that we've conceded 4 goals from our opening 2 games in today's episode is not good. Especially when you consider that, arguably, our defence has improved from last season. But, hey, you know, it is what it is. Real Madrid smashing Zenit there, 5-0. Juve winning as well. I couldn't quite see what the PSG result was from their opening game, so I don't actually know how it currently stands in the group stage. But remember, we've still got to play PSG and the other team as well, so Man, I'm a bit disappointed we only got a point from that Celtic game. You know, if we want to get out of the group, I'd say we probably have to beat Celtic maybe once, probably draw with PSG, and maybe then suffer a defeat, and then win the other 2 games against the other, teams. So, yeah, that point, we'll see how bad it's going to be for us. But the next and final game of today's episode, West Bromwich Albion in the Premier League, back into some Prem action for you all after that 3-3 thriller last time out against Everton. This time, I do not want a same case here. We have to get a clean sheet. Anything less than that, then I'll be very disappointed in the boys. But obviously, I'm saying this, and I said it was going to be quite tough this season with us playing Champions League football. Obviously, the sliders as well have come into play now. We didn't have the sliders for the first bit of last season. So this entire season, we'll be playing it with the sliders on. So chances are, we're not going to go as unbeaten as we did, last year, where we go 29 games unbeaten. So there's probably going to be games down the line, even though we're unbeaten right now, where we lose it and think maybe, hey, we shouldn't have lost that, but that's the way it goes. So heading into it against West Brom, I felt confident, even though we just got that 3-3. They were bottom of the league with 0 wins from their opening 4 games. Of course, we're second at the moment, 2 points behind Chelsea, I believe, who have already played 5 and won 4 of them and lost 1. I think, yeah, that's the way it is, if my math is correct, which should be, otherwise I'm going to look silly. But anyways, our side was unchanged from that played that 3-3 draw up against Everton last time out. So it's the same team, should be able to get the result for us on the day here against West Brom. So as the game kicked off, we actually, again, didn't start off well. I'm a little bit worried about the fact we're not starting games off as well as I would have hoped us to do so. But El Shaarawy here finding a teammate. They've actually got El Shaarawy in their side, which is a decent signing for them. And 35 minutes in, Claudio Jakob. I really don't like Claudio Jakob, but I'm not going to get into that. Thomas here on the edge of our area hits this shot. And at that point, I was like, what has just happened? How is that going to be the goal that we concede? It's not even a clean strike from the West Brom man. He hits it without real pace, without real venom, and somehow Green's theatrical dive. Honestly, man, this is just it's a little bit silly, because again, I wanted that clean sheet, and now we have to fight from a goal down to try and get something out against this West Brom team. Tarkowski trying to get straight back on it. Donny's here, into the area he goes. Never a penalty kick, I don't think, but the ref gives it anyway, and he gave us a lifeline back into this, because, as I said, I feel like that was never, ever in a million years a penalty kick, but the ref gave it, so I had to try and score it because, we're 1-0 down. We want to get the goal straight back, so there's no pressure on us. Donny steps up to take the spot kick, goes to the right, and of course misses because it's saved by the keeper. So yeah, the less said about that first half, the better for us. But in the second, we got into the game more. Grujic here again going close, good save from the keeper. We kept the pressure up though from his save. Nelson then finding Grujic again. Grujic towards Donny's. And he made up for that miss from the spot earlier on in the game. Fantastic finish towards the bottom corner, right-footed as well. I'm actually surprised because, you know what, guys? I genuinely thought Donny's was going to be the replacement for Ben Brereton, scoring the goals that he did. But actually, I might think now that it might be Calvert-Lewin because he's had a great start to the Premier League, life with us so far. And then 76 minutes in, talking about Calvert-Lewin, it's him who put us in front, getting through from a lovely through ball. And a left-footed finish makes it 2-1 to the away side with only 13 minutes remaining. So we'd actually fought back from a goal down to get a 2-1 lead and potentially maybe take all 3 points from the game today. So good fight back as well from the boys. I'm glad that we've not given up at any point in today's episode. We've been able to fight back against Everton earlier on in the Premier League, and then we come to this game here where we go goal down and we fight back again. But I don't understand why we're having to fight back in the first place. I don't understand why we're conceding the goals the way we are. So I think we're going to have to make a few changes, maybe tactically, in the earlier parts of the game to make sure we start off the games a little bit better. But nevertheless, guys, that is it for today's episode. If you did enjoy it, a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And as always, guys, thank you so much for all of your support. I might live stream later on, maybe some Fortnite or something. I don't know. But anyways, if not, I'll see you all again at 4 PM tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Adios.